first speaker of the day, who's put a really interesting presentation together for us. That's Deisy Carrillo, working now for the London Police College, but recently from the University of West London. Extremely knowledgeable, and I know you're going to enjoy Daisy's presentation. I'll pop back at the end of this. Thank you very much, ladies and gents.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the nice introduction, Bob. My name is Deisy Carrillo. I am a criminology with criminal justice graduate. I am currently working for the London Policing College as a researcher and communication manager. During this presentation, I'm going to give you some context and present some of the available data in relation to policing at the time of pandemic. On the 11th of March this year, the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. In other words, a pandemic. The spread of the virus has affected the life of millions of people around the world. As a result, many governments, including the UK, have taken emergency measures, including the imposition of lockdown, social distancing procedures, and stay-at-home policies to protect the public and slow the spread of the virus. However, what we know about the impact that COVID-19 has on policing. Public emergencies tend to create unique challenges for the police, especially in terms of demand and responses, law enforcement, staff shortages, officers' well-being, officers' health, and changes in policing in criminal activities. Since the beginning of the lockdown, there has been an increase of emergency calls. They have caused a high demand on police service, which have also generated additional pressure on all forces. One of the explanations for the increase is members of the public reporting no compliance with COVID-19 rules. During the lockdowns, UK citizens were encouraged to report any serious breach of COVID rules, including the gathering from different households in events such as house parties and barbecue. In order to mitigate the high demand of calls, the police developed a reporting incident service on their website. This reporting service is very straightforward to use, which illustrates how the police can adapt to changes and incorporate technology in their response. Another explanation for the high demand of calls is that COVID-19 has impacted considerably the mental health of the British public. Throughout the pandemic, there has been an increase of mental health-related incidents. It has been estimated that 2/5 of people in England that are waiting for NHS support end up calling the police more than once for assistance. When analyzing the police service and incident demand throughout the pandemic, it becomes clear that during the pandemic, there has been a decrease in some crimes, including theft offences and robbery. The latest crime survey for England and Wales revealed that between April and June, theft offences fall by 43% and robbery by 47% compared to previous year. The explanation for the drop is that during the pandemic, people spend more time at home, reducing opportunities for theft and in homes and public spaces. But stay-at-home and isolation instruction have led to a significant rise in domestic abuse-related incidents. Official statistics show that between March and June, the police recorded over 250,000 domestic abuse-related incidents, which represent a rise of 7% for the same period in the year 2019, and an 18% rise from 2018. We can see in the graph that more affected month was between April and June. The data from June onward is still unknown, so we will have to wait for new data to actually have an accurate picture and measure about the impact of the pandemic on domestic abuse. In response to the COVID-19 outbreak, police officers were given new powers, which are set in the new Coronavirus Act 2020. These powers allow police officers to enforce new restrictions and issue penalties or fines for those who do not comply with the rules. That include not wearing a face mask, leaving home without reasonable justification, and gatherings. In theory, if we think about it, the role of the police is to ensure compliance with these new rules. However, in practice, the nationwide self-isolation approach has been far from easy, especially because police officers have been given the task to monitor behaviors that until March this year, they was perfectly legal. While the majority of the public have complied to the rules, others did not. From the 27th of March to the 16th of November, data shows that nearly 25,000 fines have been given in England and Wales. It is important to highlight that 60% of those fines remain unpaid. For police officers, enforcing these new rules come on the top of already existing duties, such as maintaining order, investigating, preventing, and responding to crimes. We have also seen that during the pandemic, police officers have endured significant challenges in responding to the COVID-19. They are key workers, and the nature of the work implicates regular contact with members of the public. But right now, every contact represents exposure to the virus. Therefore, routine practices such as stop and search and arrest currently have increased the pressure on policing. Another major concern for senior police leaders has been staff shortages. On the 24th of March, a report from the Greater Manchester Police highlighted that 10% of the police officers and staff were ill with coronavirus or on self-isolation. Similarly, on the 31st of March, the Metropolitan Police Federation reported that 15.1% of their staff were off duty. However, this figure does not include all absence and sickness, not just COVID-19 related. From the beginning of the pandemic, emergency plans were drawn up with trigger points at 20% and 30%. However, these numbers of absence across England and Wales did not go beyond this. Mental health problems it has been put a lot of pressure in our police forces. Mental health problems are very common among police due to the higher exposure of traumatic events. Some academic literature will argue that the police can suffer from mental health problems at a higher level than the general population. Throughout the pandemic, it can be argued that amongst police officers there has been an increase due to the constant threat of exposure, changes on patrolling, shift schedules, and isolation from their families. In the UK, we have many support organizations up there, such as the National Police Wellbeing Service and the Oscar Carrillo organization, who provide resource, research, and guidance to all blue light organizations. I would like to highlight here that since the 16th of November this year, the Oscar Carrillo organization have launched their second annual police wellbeing survey across UK forces. These surveys may help us in the future to have a more comprehensive view of the impact of pandemic on police officers' mental health. Due to social distancing policies, there has been numerous changes in policing protocols, including the requirement to wear personal protection equipment. But the global demand for PPE and levels of demand, which have generated a lack of stock and a rise in prices. Access to PPE is crucial in order to ensure the safety of police officers, their families, and the community they serve. The lack of staff caused police officers to work independently here in the UK in order to ensure sufficient stock. However, there was not enough PPE stock to fit the high demand. But the OP Tala team set out an Amazon-style operation in the Thames Valley, which succeeded in securing the delivery of PPE across the UK forces. After having access to the PPE, the NPCC and the College of Policing and the National Police Coordination Centre provide a clear guidance to police officers in relation to how to operate safely in a COVID-19 environment. Their training involved a series of operational scenarios to illustrate how to work safe in policy practices. For example, entering a premises without any prior information or suggestion that those present at the premises were suspected or confirmed to have COVID-19. It was crucial the police officers have the PPE readily available and quickly prior to entering and using the national decision-making model to risk assess each incident. It was also required the police officer have to consider that there is a possibility that there is an infected occupant in the premises and this person do not know that they are infected. In here, we can see the operational guidance that was provided to police officers in order to operate safely. The full impact of COVID-19 pandemic is still unclear, but there has been notable changes in terms of policing and criminal behavior. For example, in policing changes, technology has played a role in the new police response. Video calls, app, and online meeting platform has offered new opportunities of communication that could positively change the way organizations operate. Education and training delivery, it has been other positive steps. There is a wide range of training available online, where we are more communicated with each other now, international conference like this one, webinars. So that has been something positive that have come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. In terms of criminal behavior changes, new crime opportunities can arise in unexpected places. For example, there has been report about drug offenders enrolling in university to justify their presence in certain areas. There has been also a rise in new crime, such as malicious coronavirus coughing. Our police officers has been exposed to this type of crime in a great level in here. As a huge amount of people have moved to the platform for work and social interaction, we are also seeing a shift in cybercrime. As we just heard, the pandemic has generated a shift in terms of the role undertaken by the police. To further illustrate this, I am going to share a short clip produced by the Surrey Police, which followed two of their community support officers while policing in the time of pandemic. So I'm going to share the video, just 1 second.